Hi. Okay, so in this video, I am going to show you how I would replicate one of Amy Porterfield's pages in Kajabi, because I think people sometimes don't realize how much you can actually design in Kajabi. So I'm going to go through how I would recreate this page. I hope Amy's okay with that. And I'm definitely going to speed up the video at points because it would be really long and boring if I didn't. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to make me small and over here. So this is the page, and this is a specific page that I saw somebody asking. I want a page that kind of looks like this. It's called her Learn with Amy page, and she shows her resource freebies up here, and then she explains her three main courses down here: DCA, Systems at Scale, and List Builder Society. Okay, so I created in Kajabi. This is my Kajabi page. I just went to landing page and created from a blank page. So nothing has been done yet. First thing we're going to do is, you see there are these two tabs here, sections and settings. We're going to go to settings first, because there are a few things that we need to take care of, like on the back end, kind of. We need a favicon. A favicon is well, it says 32 by 32, but we're going to design one in Canva that's 40 by 40 pixels, and that works fine. And that's the little icon that goes to the left of the page name, so that if somebody has multiple tabs open, they can see and navigate through them more easily. So I'm in Canva now. I design everything in Canva, and I created this folder already and just dropped a few things in it, or a couple things in it that I knew that I would need. But we'll do a favicon together. So add new, design, create new. It's going to be a custom size 40 by 40. Canva won't let you go down to 32 by 32, so that's why I'm using this one. Okay, and then for your favicon, you really just want something very simple, a little like one character, one mark. Don't get too fancy because it's such a tiny image. You can't really see it anyway. So we're going to go to share and download PNG. You want it to be a transparent background because otherwise it's going to have this like weird white block behind it, which just doesn't look good. Okay, so what this means, we'll go to preview. What this means is that when this page is open, it's got that favicon instead of Kajabi's default favicon. So that's what we have to do there. Close this. Next, style guide. And this is where we are doing a couple things. We're going to set the button background color. So you should have done your branding already. And when you select your brand colors, you want to have 2 or 3 primary colors, 2 or 3 secondary colors, and 1 accent color. So, and I'm going to show you on Amy's page. So this is her accent color, that gold. And then she's got like this yellow and kind of seafoam color are going to be her primary colors. White and black count as primary colors. And then what else did I see? Oh, this kind of tan peachy sort of color is probably one of her secondary colors. So that's what I'm seeing across this page. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to grab these colors here so that we know exactly the colors, because I'm just going to use exactly her colors on this page. So I want to get the hex codes for these specific colors. I have this Chrome extension called ColorZilla. If I turn it on and then I hover anywhere on this page, you see this black box opens up at the top. That'll tell me the exact hex code of whatever I'm hovering over. So I'm going to click here, and it copies this seafoam color to my clipboard. And then I just want to keep track of it in here. So I just want to keep track of all these colors here, MEP page brand colors. I'm going to do that same thing for the other colors of the page. Okay, so these are my 4 colors that we're kind of going to be using across this page. And yeah, like I said, these ones look to be the primary colors, these and white. I'm not going to add white. And then this one is a secondary color. It's still used as a background color, but just kind of sparingly. And then she's got that gold, but actually also, well, when you hover, it turns gold, but it looks like this, what would you call this? Coral, like a reddish coral color is one of her brand colors for her book. So let's just grab that one too. We'll pop it on the brand board. Okay, cool. So these are colors. This looks great. I love these colors together. So I want my button background color to be this gold. So I'm going to just grab it here. I'm going to copy that hex code and then go into Kajabi. And then again, I'm in the settings under style guide, go down to button background color, and where it asks for the hex code, delete that and pop that in. Okay, great. So if I add a call to action button on this page, it'll automatically be that gold color. You can change it at the individual button level. So this is just the default. Okay, under our style guide, also we have to choose our fonts, and fonts are fun. So you need to choose a body font and a heading font. This is where the heading font appears. If we make this full screen, and then this is where the body font appears. So whatever we set up to function as the heading font and the body font will be in those two different things. And you can, if you don't know which font is being used where, if you go to source code here, and then look here where it says H1 in brackets, that means that all the tools is heading 1. P means that this is paragraph or body font. So then if we want to like heading 2. Right now, this is paragraph, but we want to change it to heading 2. So it's going to be the same font, just a smaller size as the heading. Okay, so let's close this. And so that's where it's going to appear on the page, but you need to change it in the settings. We'll go to style guide, down body font. Okay, so let's see what Amy's using. And one thing that I notice often that I think looks good is that the heading font is going to be a serif font. So that means that it's got those little like footers at the bottom. I don't know exactly what you call them. It's got that little like flare on the edge. And then the body font is going to be a sans serif font, meaning it doesn't have that. And really, when you're choosing fonts, you just want to choose something that's easy to read, like no need to get fancy here. So we're going to, for the body font, right, it's Open Sans. That's the default. I'm going to change it to Montserrat. I think that's a nice one. It's just like basic and easy to read. Vera Sans, I'm going to change this to one of these that you can see has the little, I don't know what they're called, the little fancy things. Alice is nice, or Playfair Display, I think is good. And you'll notice that Kajabi, the default is heading font weight is bold, which I don't like. So we're going to switch it to normal and then save. Okay, that just automatically looks much better, I think. And then font colors, it's going to give you, again, when the page loads, just the defaults are that it gets lighter. I don't know why you would do that. We're just going to make these straight black. We'll leave the placeholder font color, that gray, because it'll make it clear that that's just a placeholder. So one thing to keep in mind when you're choosing your fonts or your font colors, background colors, I'm going to make myself big for this. One thing that's important is that there needs to be enough of a contrast between your font color and your background color for it to be easy for people to read. This is especially important for people who are visually impaired and you want your website, your landing pages and everything to be ADA compliant and accessible to everyone. So it really is an important thing. And there is a contrast checker tool that you can use. You can just type in the hex code of your background color and your font color, and it'll give you a rating like red, orange, or green, depending on if there's enough of a contrast for it to be easy to read. So if you are in doubt at all, I would recommend you can just Google like font color contrast checker or something, and it'll help you out with that. Also in Style Guide, you can change the font sizes. The default ones I think are generally fine, so I'm not going to change those. And that's it. I don't do anything with design tools or custom code. Okay, that's just settings. Section. So in Kajabi, every page comes loaded with a header, footer, exit pop-up, and two-step opt-in. Just because those things are here doesn't mean that somebody can automatically see them, though. You can choose to have them visible or not. So on this page right now, the header is not visible. We want to make the header visible. So I'm going to go into this header section. And I know that under section settings, desktop layout, it just by default, the hide header is turned off. And we're going to uncheck that both on desktop and mobile. And then same thing, the footer is also hidden just by default, and we want to turn that on. You are legally required to include links to your legal pages in the footer of every page. So your footer will always be visible. But you can choose like what else you have there in addition to your legal links, if anything. Okay, so I've turned my header on, and again, it just comes loaded with like a logo and these menus that I don't use this at all ever. So I don't know why that's there. My logo is super tiny. The default, they like load it with this logo image width of 50, which is ridiculous. Let's make it 150, way better. And then this is my header navigation that I use across my site. So we'll just leave it here because that's good enough for me. This is kind of a bigger like strategic thing. You want to make sure that your header navigation is set up really intentionally to guide people as they should use your site. And then my user menu. So this is where students would log in. So going back to Amy's page, I just want to see, right, she's got her just regular header navigation across in the header here. She also has this, listen to my latest podcast episode, which I can't get a scrolling thing in Kajabi like that, or not without a widget or something, but I'm not going to mess with that. But what we can do is add a hello bar up here at the top. So again, we're still in this header section. We're going to add content, hello bar. Do not miss out. Amazing things are coming. Okay, so this is that Kajabi blue is because I didn't update that in the section in the settings for this page. But I can say like, listen to the latest episode of my podcast, and I'm going to change that background color. She actually has it black, which I think that looks good. And then under the action, so this is the action that if somebody clicks anywhere in this hello bar, what it's going to do. You can enter a URL here if your podcast is somewhere else, like she has hers on Libsyn, so that's going to go, or it's going to go somewhere else. Or you can choose a landing page if you have content on a landing page that you want to send somebody to. One thing I would check this box, open a new tab. That just to me is kind of a pet peeve. I want to keep multiple pages open at a time. So that's good for your header. And then your footer, I'm just going to update. There is a logo here, but it's really tiny and it's black on black. I'm just going to delete that. I don't want my header navigation here. This is my header. This is my footer. So I'm going to select footer. So these are my legal pages. That's all that you're required to include in your footer. Let's go back. You can add your social icons if you want to do that. If you do add social icons, just make sure that you are updating them because, again, these will all go to Kajabi's social platforms. And then copyright. Okay, so you have to have the copyright and your links to your legal pages, but I'm not doing anything else with the footer on this page. Okay, so now we get into designing the actual content of the page. So again, we're in sections. There's a hero section. Just on this like blank page, it came with a hero section. That's what Kajabi calls the first section of every page is your hero section. So the way that we are going to design this, let's go back to Amy's page. So what I'm seeing here is, I'm seeing three things. She has a background graphic that is this gradient that goes from that yellow to green. There's a text block that includes this text. And then there's an image block of her and the mock-up of this freebie. So that's what we're going to create. We're going to set up that background graphic, the text, and then the image file on top of it. So first, this the background graphic. We're going to go to Canva. Okay, we're in Canva, and we'll create, add new design, and it's a 2880 by 1200 pixel is the background image. Which, if you don't remember that, if you don't like work inside of Kajabi designing for hours a day like I do, you can go down to background and background image. If you hover here, it'll tell you 2880 by 1200. So anytime you need to upload an image, if you just hover over the info icon, it'll tell you the dimensions. So you don't have to remember. Okay, so I want to find a gradient. I'm going to go to elements and okay, so I cheated a little bit. I looked this up before I started this video because there are a bunch of different gradients and elements in Canva, and I wanted to, it took kind of a while to find the right one. So, but this is it. And then it has, see this like blue and purple color. We want to change that to the yellow and green colors that Amy's using. So remember, this is where we stored the brand colors for this particular project. So we're going to grab that hex code. And if these were like my brand colors, I would set up brand colors in Kajabi in the site, like my global site settings, and I would create a brand board in Canva. But since this is just a one-off, I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, you can see Susie Hines 2023, which was last year. This is my color palette. These are my brand colors. So I would update that if I were using these colors a lot, but I'm not. Then this one. And we want to change the purple to that greenish color. And then we have to stretch this out. So this, I think, looks good. I'm going to rename this background because I can use this same Canva file. I can add pages if I want to create other background images. And I'm going to share download. So we want to download this as a JPEG rather than a PNG. A PNG file you will have to use if you want a transparent background, but PNG files are larger, which will slow down your page load speed. Whenever you can, use a JPEG. Okay, so we are back in Kajabi here. We're in the hero section. It has a text and image block. I'm actually going to make these smaller so that they fit side by side. So we're going to go to background. For the background media type, I want it to be image. And it shows you the Kajabi image here. And then we're going to select that background image that we want to be using. I'm going to switch these two places. Okay, let's see. And this you'll see is pretty big. One thing that we can do if you want to make this just take up the whole page is under desktop layout. You can go down, make section full height. That'll kind of expand it up that way. Just went away for a second. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do, actually, I'm going to grab this copy from her page. I'm just literally copying her copy. But this isn't ever going to be like a live page, so that's okay. And we will paste it in here. So sometimes when you paste over from somewhere else into Kajabi, some like wonky formatting comes over with it. And if you're ever unclear or you just want to like strip all the formatting, you can go into source code, delete, and then I'm just going to paste it into the code. So what this does is it strips all formatting. This is just all paragraph font now. But we want to now add back that formatting that I like from this one. So it looks, I think that's bold, and then this is probably heading 1. So I'll change this to heading 1, change this to bold. Okay, cool, good enough. Okay, and she's got the white background here around the text block. And you'll notice that it is not centered. There's more of this white space on the left, which we'll need when we add the graphic of a person and the freebie. So we will add some padding around the text. We do that by, in Kajabi, we're in the text block. And well, first we want the background color to be white. And then under desktop layout, so you've got inside spacing and outside spacing, I want to create a little more inside spacing. So I am playing around a little bit. Actually, I'm going to make flush that just stretches it out a little bit. We're also, this is like such a minor thing, border radius is 4, which means that it's curved a little bit on the edges, but I just want to sharpen it up. So I'm going to move it down to 0. Okay. And I'm doing everything in desktop layout. After you design the whole page, you're going to want to go back and preview on mobile, and you might have to change things. But I am, just for the purpose of this, just doing desktop. I'm going to add more. Let's see what 200 looks like. Okay. So it's definitely got some space over here. So we'll create the image and then overlay them and see how it looks, and if we have to change that spacing. I'm also going to, in this guide, I'm going to add a paragraph break there so it's easier to read. And I'm going to make it left justified. Okay. So general rule, you want things to be left aligned if it's more than just like a headline, because it's easier for people to read. Okay, so next we want to create this, and this part is a little bit tricky. So we're going to create an image file of a woman and this freebie mockup, and then we're going to overlay it on top of that text block. So we're going to go back to Canva. Okay, so this is a 1200 by 1200 pixel design, and that's good because I know I think it'll fit well. This will be about the right shape, I think. But you always kind of have to play around with things. Okay, so we want a picture of a woman. I'm not going to get Amy because that's weird. I used this woman earlier. So we need to delete the background, which you can do on the Canva Pro account, background remover. We're just going to delete that and then make this formatted to fit. And then we're going to do this mock-up here. And one thing that I'm noticing is that there's a little bit of a shadow behind the mock-up, which it gives just like a little bit of depth to it. It makes it look like a physical thing rather than just like a flat digital thing. So let's see, I have some freebie mock-ups here. This is the template that I have. And I also have this PDF. So if you are doing a freebie mock-up of a PDF, you're going to want to pull up the PDF itself, and then you're going to grab some screenshots from that, add them to the mock-up, and then that's the image file that you're going to use. So you can pull from like a PDF, take those screenshots, but then put them into a JPEG or a PNG file. And this like cartoony landscape image just means that it's like a placeholder for an image. So, and I have a few of these. You can probably look through Canva and find one that works for you. I just know like I use these a lot, so I know. So I have them saved. I'm gonna make this. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to print screen and take a shot. This and pop it in here. Okay. And you want to take a couple screenshots. Okay, so now that I have this, I'm going to select the whole thing and I'm going to say group so that it all stays together. And then I'm going to copy this back to that page that has woman. And it was kind of like above here, on her shoulder. Okay, And you can, play around with like the sizing and orientation and stuff a little bit, but that's fine for now. Okay, so now we are going to download, and this again is a case where I would use a PNG with a transparent background because I don't want this weird white box just on my page. Okay, and then I'm going back to my page, to my image block, and I'm going to upload that. Okay, so now we have it, but we want it to be overlaid like it is on Amy's page. And I think that I want some margins on the side. So, because you can see that she's got margins on the side of this page. So every Kajabi page is 12 columns wide. And so we're in this image block, it's 6 columns, and then this text block is also 6 columns wide. So we're taking up the entire width of the page with these 2 blocks. I want to tighten it up a little bit, so I'm going to squish these both down to 5. And then I do want to pull this, the image over this text box. So this is like one of those things. It's going to look weird until it looks great. So we're going to go into this image block here, go down to spacing, and your outside spacing, we're going to do a negative number here. Let's do -100. So that's going to pull it over. On this, when we're editing, it goes under the text block, but we're going to preview it and see what happens. So then when you preview it, it goes over the text block. And I want to, I'm going to pull it over a little bit. You just kind of have to play around with the spacing and the sizing of these things. That's better. There's a lot of space above and below. So what I'm going to do is go into my hero section, desktop layout, desktop section padding. It defaults to 100 pixels. That's too much. Let's say, actually, I'm going to do 0 at the bottom. Okay. You have to see what it looks like on the live page. Okay, so that tightens it up a little bit. Actually, I want this block a little bit higher, the text block. So we're going to go into text block, desktop layout, and the outside spacing. I'm going to make it -50 to pull it up a little bit. Okay, cool. So that's looking pretty good, I think, actually. We're going to add a call to action button down here inside this text block, which you can do by going to, so we're in the text block here in the left-hand side panel, call to action, include, and it's using that golden color that we like from here, although she has a darker, yeah, that yellow and white or the white on yellow isn't a great idea. So let's change the button text color to black. It's easier to read. Download the free guide and, add an exclamation point, or you can get an emoji if you want an arrow or something. And then you would have to, this part's important, set up the button action here. And I'm not going to get into that, like the functionality of the buttons at this point. This just video is long enough, and I'm only trying to talk about design. So I'm going to take a break right here because I have a call in a few minutes. But I'll do another video about building out because that was just like header, footer, and hero section. We still have several sections of this page to create, so this is going to take a little while. But that is enough to get you started.